In the early 1970s, the river was seeing a great deal of use by fishermen, but also by boaters, either rafters, canoeists, kayakers.
There was no public access to the river, and development was beginning to gear up.
We had developers who wanted to build expensive stuff along the river. You had the hardcore environmentalists, you had the county commissioners who had their own agendas. It was a battle.
It must have been about March of '70. I took my two daughters down to Rottenwood Creek, down on Acres Mill Road. And we played on the rocks there and collected garnets. And Rottenwood Creek was just absolutely gorgeous. You would have to think you were in the mountains. While we were there, I noticed up the road some 100 feet or so was a zoning sign. And that set me digging and looking around town for other people of similar interest.
We were very lucky. The river was very lucky. And the timing was incredible because there'd been no development that far out from Atlanta until just in the last probably 4 or 5 years. And then it was just booming.
The major thing we saw was that we were very quickly going to lose that pristine quality, but we weren't gaining access to the river. The Georgia Conservancy had just been organized. I joined it, and I joined the Georgia Canoeing Association. It gave the conservationists an access to a competent canoeist, and also let us take news reporters, political figures, down to Chattahoochee and let them see it.
Larry Patrick's great Ramblin' Raft races, for all their reputation of excess in terms of wild going-ons, actually were introducing hundreds of thousands of people to the Chattahoochee River. These people were traveling 9 miles of extraordinarily beautiful river, and so when the time came and people knew that the river was in peril, these people were outraged.
There were going to be 2 sewer lines to come down the river, one on each bank of the river.
It took every single person and entity, even the ones we didn't like, to make what happened happen. It took the river rats.
The truly dedicated core that I think any environmental movement needs became known as the river rats. We really did try, like rats, to be everywhere and to influence anybody we could influence.
It took what were frequently looked at as screaming environmentalist. It took the debutante from the junior league.
This was the first opportunity within the league to offer an environmental connection. These women that gave their time were very well educated, very intelligent, and had a deep sense of service to their community.
The Junior League had women like me, and I was not an expert in anything, but I was willing to learn. We had daytime time, and a lot of the planning commission meetings and a lot of the county meetings were in the daytime. And we'd go sit in there, and if we saw something was getting bad and somebody was coming in with the development, we'd say, commissioners, we'd like to discuss that this is on a steep slope and you shouldn't develop here, and according to this land use plan that's been passed by the Atlanta Regional Commission, they're not supposed to do this. And so the commissioners would go, okay, she's caught on what we're trying to do here.
It took congressmen, it took a governor, and ultimately it took a president.
It's a rare occasion when, within the city limits of one of our major cities, one can find pure water and trout and free canoeing and rapids and the seclusion of the earth the way God made it.
He loved the river. I think Claude was really the instigator in getting him out to the river.
The governor wanted to see the river, so we went out and did the river. and he went off Jumping Rock. I was surprised at that.
A highlight of my life was going to the White House to see then President Carter sign the bill for the Chattahoochee River National Recreation Area.
This was all part of a sort of a movement that was sort of a baby boomer movement that was trying to make the world better. I used to sit at the Palisades and think, this is all going to be gone someday.
In looking back, to me, it was an unusual coming together, almost serendipitous. There was something that brought all of that together at the right place at the right time to do something for generations to come and to keep the river from just being lost.